Welcome to the Allison Lombatis Show, a podcast to help women discover and rediscover their confidence and style. I'm Allison Lombatis, and I am so excited to share today's episode with you. As I just mentioned, this podcast is about helping you discover and rediscover your confidence and style. And while my area of expertise is confidence as it relates to wardrobe, it's important for me to use this platform to encourage you in all areas of your life, not just your clothes. And when I'm not the expert, I am delighted to introduce you to other voices who are, which brings me to today's guest, Becky Rapinchuk, aka Clean Mama. Becky is a cleaning expert, a wife and mom to three, a successful entrepreneur, and a former art teacher. She's the blogger behind Clean Mama, the leading online homekeeping community, and she advises the world's leading lifestyle brands such as Martha Stewart, Real Simple, Better Homes and Gardens, SC Johnson, Bissell, and Scotch-Brite on how to clean up life's little and big messes. She's also the go-to girl for the over 20 million readers who follow her online and buy her books, paper goods, and signature cleaning products. All this to say, Becky knows what she's talking about when it comes to keeping home. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please take a moment to do it now. By doing so, you'll get new episodes directly in your listening feed so you won't miss a thing. And if you enjoyed listening to the show, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute to rate it and leave a review. I know it seems like a small thing, but your rating and review really do help, especially for new shows like this one. And now let's dive into my chat with the Clean Mama. Well, hello, Becky. Welcome to the show. I am so excited to talk to you today because I know you have a ton of awesome tips for our listeners that is going to really just like give them permission to enjoy their homes instead of feeling guilty anytime they put their feet up for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
So can you share a little bit with us about how you came to be known as the Clean Mama? I'm curious if you have always been passionate about housekeeping, or is this something that came naturally to you?
I think it definitely came naturally to me, but it was honed in my early 20s when my husband and I first got married. I was an art teacher and I really strive to have a neat, tidy classroom, which is hard when you're teaching a bunch of elementary aged kids art. So I really worked on systems and trying to clean up as quickly as we could because I had like 5 or 6 minutes between classes and I was teaching kids how to clean up their spaces. And I was not a mom at that time and I did not have my blog at that time, but that was when I really could see that I enjoyed cleaning and like teaching other people how to best practices essentially for cleaning. And then when I started the blog, I was a mom and I was trying to come up with a name for it. And my husband was the one that said, well, you love to clean, just call it Clean Mama. Like that's what you're going to talk about. And I was like, okay. And I really didn't think that much, put any real thought into it because at that time I was thinking this is a fun thing to do and, have a little blog and that sort of a thing. So that's where it went. It served me well. And, that's kind of how it goes.
Oh my gosh. I love that your husband came up with the name. That's amazing.
Yeah. I definitely have to give him the credit.
Yeah. And systems rule the world, right? Oh my gosh. Like I want systems for everything in my life. And I know that exact timing across the country varies, but we are heading into back to school season, which this time of year for me especially has always felt like that reset. And especially when my kids were younger. So I think we can all relate that summer tends to get super chaotic, like the wheels fall off, all the rules fall to the wayside. And back to school always gives that little bit of the let's get the train back on the tracks vibe. And it's a desire to get that structure back into our lives again. So is the back to school urge to reset something that you've experienced as well? And are there any seasonal things that you're doing with your home cleaning, organizing, or decluttering that are going to help to prepare for the upcoming fall season?
Yeah, I have been on both sides of the back to school craziness. And one is as a teacher. And then I was kind of dreading going back to school. But then as a mom, I really enjoy that structure and that routine that sending the kids back to school gives us too. For me, I am definitely all about putting systems in place and what I'm doing to make sure that things are running smoothly in the house. So getting the pantry organized and ready to go so that the school lunch craziness can take place. I'm also just resetting from the summer, getting things ready for the kids for back to school. We're like shifting wardrobes. We're like making sure everything fits. I mean, there's just kind of those things that we're doing that way, just natural, like mom, kid, dad, kid sorts of things. But then when it comes to like actually whipping the house into shape, like I'm all about that when we're in that back to school because now things can be put away and they'll stay away for a little bit longer. And that always feels good. Getting those spaces tidied up and things put away. I feel like that's kind of how at the end of the summer, things just kind of linger, and that being able to like, okay, we're done with this. We could put the pool bag away, or we could put this activity away that's been out every day all over the house. You can kind of start to do that.
Yes. It's such a good feeling. I remember like the minute the kids would walk out the doors in the morning, like the beds were made, the clothes were put away, and I'm like, my house is actually going to stay this way until they get home. So there's like that, you get to take that deep breath and exhale, and it feels so good just to clean out the pantry, get rid of all the old stuff, and just really kind of hit that reset button. So I always said September was like the start of my new year instead of January, because I felt like it was just that time where we really, as a family, more than anything, got to kind of hit that reset button on so many things around the house. So the question that we all want to know is, how much time do you spend cleaning your house in a given day or week? You know, time is that precious resource that we are all desperately seeking more of. So what is the time investment required for a functional and clean home?
Yeah. And I always err on less is more. And because while I enjoy cleaning, I don't want to spend all my time cleaning. So I go for 30 minutes a day. That is kind of my goal, stretched out over the day. And I find that by doing a little bit in the morning and a little bit during the day and a little bit in the evening, that it doesn't feel quite as overwhelming. It doesn't feel as much of a task. And then also by consistently cleaning your home and doing a little bit every day, you're not going to have to do those marathon weekend cleaning sessions, and you can really adhere to like the 30 minutes a day. And that's what I found. Sometimes if I'm like washing the floors or vacuuming, those things take a little bit longer, but I do have lots of ways to split those things up so that if you do have 30 minutes, like let's just spend 30 minutes. Like we don't need to spend any more time than that. And yeah, I think I aim for the 30 minutes a day for just daily upkeep and cleaning.
I love that. It's not overwhelming. You're breaking something that can feel overwhelming down into small tasks. I remember I used to dread cleaning on the weekends. Like our entire Saturday would be taken up with it, and really just breaking this down into something that's manageable and in a system on a daily basis ensures that you're never going to have that build up and then that overwhelm on the other side of that. So that's what I love about your 4 components, which I would love for you to share with us. You've developed what you call the Clean Mama routine that includes these 4 components. So can you explain this structure to us and how that breaks down?
Yeah. So the 4 components build on each other, and I designed it that way because I know if you are someone that maybe you've had someone come into your house to clean your house and you don't do any of the daily cleaning, or if you're someone that always cleans on the weekends and you spend all day Saturday doing that, you might not it's not going to come naturally to think about things in terms of what to do each day. So the 4 components are the daily tasks, the weekly tasks, the rotating tasks, and the monthly focus. And I always say, do not try to do all of them. Like they build on each other. So it's the same. It's like when you're thinking about it, think about like layering something on. And if you're slowly building towards something, it's like if you say, okay, I'm going to go run a marathon. Like you can't say I'm going to run a marathon and then run a marathon the next day. Like most people can't do that. Now, if you say I'm going to train to run a marathon, I'm going to take a year to do it, or 6 months or whatever, you're going to be able to accomplish that because you're going to like lead up to it. So it's the same principle. So those daily tasks are the things that I recommend starting with. So it's just 5 things. You can start with 1. You can do all 5. Like think of like whatever works. It's a very flexible schedule on purpose because I know that everyone's homes are different. Your families are different. The amount of time you have to spend, how much time you're in your house. I mean, there are so many different variables when it comes to lifestyles and homes. So that's why it's a very flexible routine. So the 5 daily tasks that I always say, start with making your bed. To me, that's like the easiest thing to do. Just make your bed. And then if you are just starting out, you can make your bed and then the next day, make your bed and add another daily task, or you can start and just try to do all of them. But the making the bed is the easiest first thing to do. Then wiping the counters is the second one. I think of that as like when you clean up the kitchen at night and you put things away, wipe down the counters. So it doesn't have to be like every single counter in the house, multiple times a day, like try to do it once. I also will say to wipe counters, like your bathroom counters. This will keep your bathrooms cleaner through the week and make it easier to clean them. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. It can also just be to check them. So you can just be like, is there toothpaste on this counter? Is this a mess? Are there things that need to be put away? But incorporating those things into your day is super helpful because if you're cleaning the kitchen, just wipe the counters. It's not when you're done putting the dishes in the dishwasher or washing the dishes, putting things away, just do a quick wipe of the counters. By doing that at least daily, your kitchen is going to stay cleaner longer. You're not going to have the piles of dishes. It's just going to be that much easier for you. The next thing is to check the floors. So I know there are a lot of people that like to vacuum every day or sweep every day. I don't. So I vacuum weekly, but I have checked floors on there daily because like if you've got a fur ball in the corner or if there's crumbs under your kitchen table, like whatever, like let's take care of that instead of waiting until it comes around for the week. And then the 4th one is laundry. This is also something that could be like controversial because not everyone wants to do laundry every day. I think it makes a big difference. So I recommend at least either doing a load of laundry every day if you have it, or checking, like, is there laundry that could be done? If you don't have laundry to be done, you don't do it. Like, it's just like, you're just thinking about it. You're planning ahead. That way you're not going to have like, oh, I needed that at the bottom of my clothes basket and now I don't have it. You're not going to have those sorts of situations. And then the 5th daily task is clutter. So we're just putting stuff away, whether it's working on decluttering a closet and you're doing a little bit every day in that closet, or if it's just, I'm bringing the mail in from the mailbox, I'm filing it, I'm putting it away, I'm trashing stuff, whatever. You can use clutter as you want. So it can just be just picking things up. It can be like an actual like clutter project if you'd rather do that. So those are the daily tasks. And while they sound like a lot, as you start to do them, it's easier and easier as you complete them. And people say by just doing those 5 daily tasks, their houses feel cleaner than they ever have. And it's because it's just those things that maintenance stuff that we sometimes like glaze over or decide it's not important to do, or I'll get to that tomorrow. Like just do it and take care of it. So those are the daily tasks. Then the weekly tasks are by days of the week. So Monday is bathrooms day, Tuesday is dusting, Wednesday is vacuuming, Thursday is washing the floors, Friday is a catch-all day. So that's a day to catch up. So if there's anything that you didn't get done during the week, like let's say you decided or you didn't feel like cleaning your bathrooms, but now you have company coming this weekend and you want to have clean bathrooms, great. Do it on Friday. It's a catch-all day. You can do that. Saturday, it's sheets and towels. I love having like a day of the week where I know that those sheets are clean. That's Saturday. I also like having that on Saturdays because my kids are home. Typically on the weekend, they can learn how to change their sheets, wash them, put them away, remake their beds and do all that it doesn't all fall on me or my husband. Like we can kind of all share that responsibility. And then Sunday, there isn't anything. It's just those daily tasks. So just kind of just like, hey, let's just relax and get the daily stuff done. But those are the two things that I always recommend doing, the daily tasks and the weekly tasks. And then when you move forward, it's the rotating tasks. Those are deep cleaning items that you should be doing, but you don't know when to do them. And then the monthly focus is an organizing focus every single month. So like January is a whole house declutter. February is kitchen. So we're focusing on one area in the home that repeats every year. So you're always going to come back to that each year. But yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Such a good system. Oh, there's so many things I love about this. Number one, like the quick wins, just making your bed every day. What a quick win and just way to just kind of set the tone for the day. Right. And really, I'm obsessed with keeping my counters clear, clutter free and wiped down. I feel like it just clears up bandwidth in my life. And I know that I hear a lot of talk lately on social media about the silent to-do list that, we all walk around with. And it's those little things that are eating up our bandwidth in our environments. And these daily tasks really help to eliminate so many of those things on that list. And this really just also crosses over with the philosophy of outfit formulas of like clearing out that closet clutter, getting rid of the things that, out of sight, out of mind kind of stuff. But I personally love the rotating tasks so much because I feel like these are the deep cleaning things that I consistently put off and can't remember the last time I did it. So this is super helpful to have that kind of structure so that, when you work through the full year, you're never going to be having like too much of that stuff built up that it just, again, becomes so overwhelming that we don't even want to take that first step to do the thing. So, wow, such an amazing framework. Thank you for that. So let's say I'm overwhelmed by trying to keep up with my house because things are so busy during the work week and I just kind of tolerate the crazy, honestly. Then when the weekend finally rolls around, I end up spending free time, catching up with the housework. And if I'm lucky, maybe I cross one of those deep cleaning tasks off the list, rinse and repeat. So for that woman that is just right there in that place, feeling that overwhelm right now, what do you recommend as that first step?
I think recognizing that it's hard and that it's difficult to manage everything. And in order to really, I don't know, I just feel like you can't be an expert in everything. And when you actually say like someone else has a way of doing something that works or someone can teach me something about this, like that takes so much of that load off. Like let's link arms. Let's like share what we know. And it's okay to say like, hey, I might need help cleaning my house or, hey, I need help picking out outfits. Like I can't, like it's okay to just recognize that it's hard. And when you want it, like the first right step, I think is just to say like, okay, like let me see if there's a different way of doing this. And then anytime, like in anything in my life, I always try to break things down into like the simplest, easiest way to do something. So what's the easiest way I can do this? Or what's the quickest way that I can get this done? Also, like not going for perfection, I think is really helpful, especially when it comes to cleaning our homes, because if you are striving for perfection, your house is never going to be clean regardless if you're going for a perfect house or like, this is clean, we're good kind of a house. Like if I'm going to spend the time cleaning something, I want it to be clean. So I'm not like cutting corners or making things like sort of cleaning, like I'm actually cleaning things. However, if I'm concentrating on having everything just right, perfect all the time, I like coming to grips with the fact that it's never going to be perfect. And that's a good thing because there are other people that live there and there's people in our homes that we love and we want it. It's a lived in home on purpose. Like that's what you want, but just taking some steps to clean it quickly, following a framework is so helpful because then you can say like, you don't have to think like, what do I have to do today? Let me make my list. Like you're 10 minutes in, if you're making your own list, at least if you just follow something, like follow the routine, it's going to save you time every single day. And it's something you don't have to like bother yourself with.
It's so good. So good. Yes. Number one, seek support. Don't be afraid to ask for help because so many of us are, right? Number two is really just about giving ourselves that grace, right? And knowing that it's not ever going to be exactly right or perfect, and just allowing yourself to be okay in that space and know like people live here and it's going to get messed up again. So I love that. Yes. Yes. And giving us permission to say that is a-okay. Yes. So good. Yes.
And it's different, like with every age and stage of our kids too. I mean, it's always different, and realizing that there's always going to be that ebb and flow is, I think, just freeing, because you could like, it's not always going to feel like this. And at some point, what you've wished for, you're going to be like, oh, I kind of wish it was like that again.
Yes, totally. I can relate. As an empty nester, like going back to those toddler days of toys being all over the ground or having the little tiny things that we're folding in all the laundry loads. It's definitely, it's a phase of life. It's a season, and it passes, and then you move into the next one. So yeah, I love that. So listeners of the podcast already know this, but when I'm talking about style with my community, the area that fascinates me the most is actually the psychology of style. So what I mean by this is really those deeper reasons behind the style choices that we make, the permission we give ourselves, or in many cases, the permission we don't give to invest in ourselves, how we choose to show up in the world, and how all of these things impact not just our appearance, but also our confidence and our feelings of self-worth. So home is supposed to be our safe space and where we feel at peace, but that can be challenging if you haven't had a positive home environment modeled for you growing up, or if you struggle with mental health or neurodivergence, or even if you're feeling just overwhelmed and burned out, which so many of us are these days. So I'm curious if you've noticed similar conversations that are happening in your community around the psychology of a clean and peaceful home space, and what the impact of putting a system like yours in place has had on yourself and also members of your community.
Yeah, I have a lot of members that are neurodivergent, or they struggle with attention, or just overwhelmed, a lot of mental health like struggles as well. And just, especially if we're talking about clutter, and like there's a lot like that kind of goes into that. And I think what I've found to be the most helpful is just starting. And I think that that's where sometimes we fall short. And in that, we're like, we want everything all set. Like we want everything like I want this to be the right time to do something. This is like the best time. Like I'll wait to do that until blah, 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 whatever it might be. But I think that when we say like, I'm just going to start today and it's not going to be perfect, I'm going to like, that's where it's really helpful, because, or I'm just going to spend 10 minutes a day. So instead of saying, I'm going to do this until my bathrooms are all clean, saying, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and I'm going to clean what I can for 10 minutes. And then I can decide if I want to continue or if I want to stop. So sometimes I'll even say like, okay, it's bathrooms day. So it's Monday. Instead of saying, okay, I have to clean all the bathrooms, say, okay, I'm going to clean the toilets today. And then next week I'll clean the counters. And so giving yourself permission to break those things down even further is really helpful, especially if you're struggling, especially if you are overwhelmed. Because when we move our bodies and just start, it's going to like, sometimes then our brains will catch up, and it doesn't always, it's just, you kind of have to trick yourself sometimes into starting something. And by taking what you're struggling with part out of it and just moving forward in some way, whether it's cleaning a toilet or making a bed or vacuuming a room, like it just move towards that end goal. And soon, like just keep doing a little bit every day. And by 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road, you'll see the difference. And that's what's going to be helpful too. I know there are a lot of people that struggle with depression, and a lot of times there's clutter can contribute to that. Clutter it's proven to contribute to stress, and by just taking care of that daily, like a little bit every day, is going to really, really help alleviate some of those feelings. Now, like there's always clinical diagnoses, and like I would never want to say like you can clean and all your troubles are going to go away or anything like that. But you can definitely, like, just getting started is going to be helpful.
That's so good. Yes. I love to say you don't have to feel it to do it, because sometimes the feeling comes after the action. And really it's the kind of that same thing with getting dressed on a daily basis. You don't have to feel like getting dressed to do it. Just take the action, put on the clothes, and the feeling is going to come after that. So it's really just about taking those imperfect actions, even if you're not feeling it, because what's on the other side of that can be so good. So I love that. So good. So as part of your Clean Mama routine, you have created a community called the Homekeeping Society. So tell me more about that.
Yeah. So that is my membership, and it is a special place for anyone that wants to work on cleaning and organizing and work through the Clean Mama routine together. So we meet twice a month, and I do 2 different workshops. One is a Q&A style workshop, and then one has to do with whatever the monthly focus is. So that's that organizing component. So they are like 45 minutes to an hour long. I answer questions, we chat. It's really fun. It's all about that community. And then in Homekeeping Society, there's a beautiful portal that has our monthly PDF packets. And those are like 14 to 15 pages that you can follow through with. You can also download them individually. There's also an app component in there. So if you'd prefer to check things off on your phone instead of printing out a PDF, you can do that. But we are following the routine together. And there's a really active Facebook group that we support each other. We put before and after pictures and answer questions. It's super fun. But it's a space where anyone that feels like they want that camaraderie and the support I'm in there daily, helping people answering questions, and just really like getting to that end goal of like, let's have a clean and cozy home and figure out the best way for us to do that. I started it in 2014. So we are coming up on our 10-year anniversary, and there are people in there that started in 2014. So it's an awesome little group, and, I don't know how little it is, but it's an awesome group, and it's just a lot of fun. So that's what it's about.
That support piece is so, so crucial to success. I love that you have that set up for your members. And, I often talk to women about decision fatigue, because studies have shown that we make 35,000 decisions a day. So it is no wonder that we are exhausted, and we're looking for some ways to simplify our lives. And I've been exploring the Homekeeping Society, and one of the things that I love is that it is such a systematic approach that you've designed. I have an engineering background, so my brain loves structure and organization, and it's the same reason that I created Alpha Formulas for getting dressed. So you've broken down every aspect of home care into these bite-sized chunks that feel manageable. They eliminate the mental load on where to start, and they help you really just organize your cleaning tasks. So I'm wondering if you have any advice on decluttering and maintaining the organization. People often say that they'll do, a closet clean out or pantry or kids' toys or whatever, and then within 1 to 2 months, they find that it's full of clutter again and totally disorganized. So what are your tips or suggestions on how we can maintain our clutter-free spaces?
Yeah, the maintenance piece is the hardest piece. And I think that once you realize that you're never done. Because you're not done with the cleaning, you're not done with the organizing, you're not done with decluttering until you have no items in your home and no one lives there, and no one wants that. So like just recognizing that, I think, is helpful. I always by having the daily task of clutter, to me, that solves one problem, because now we are putting things away and we're being mindful of what's still out and what to do with those things. But then you can also, like, as I said before, you can use that to work on specific projects during every day. So if you wanted to work on your closet, you could work on your closet. And then by having that monthly focus that repeats annually. So every single year, you know, in July, exactly what that monthly focus is. And we're going to repeat it. So we're revisiting those systems that we put into place, tweaking them if we need to. And then we're getting ready for the next month. But I think that to me, that's important. And it's also important to recognize that things change. So if you organize a closet and it works amazing for you for a year, but then all of a sudden you're like, this is not working for me. Like, don't keep trying to force that closet to work for you. Figure out what isn't working and revamp it. And you can give yourself permission to do that. It doesn't have to cost you anything. Like, you're just like maybe moving shelves around. Maybe you are like letting go of some clothes that you haven't worn, or maybe, you know, like whatever it could be, like having that chance to revisit those areas at least once a year, I think is really helpful.
Oh, so good. Thank you so much. Where can our listeners go to connect with you and get started in the Homekeeping Society?
Yeah. So you can go to cleanmama.com. And you can also, there's a tab for Homekeeping Society on cleanmama.com. There's also just a website, homekeepingsociety.com. That's, if you just want to go straight there, that's where everything is. You can find me on social media at Clean Mama as well.
Well, we're also going to link up all of Becky's information, and we have a promo code that I'm going to share with you. That's going to be in our show notes at AllisonLabattis.com/podcast. And if you're listening to this episode in the month of July 2024, Becky has a special promo code for you to check out the Homekeeping Society. Just enter code SCHOOL24 at checkout and you'll get 3 months for the price of one. So thank you for sharing this generous offer with us and our listeners. Becky, it has been such a joy having you here. Thank you for inspiring me and our listeners today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I would love to hear your thoughts about Becky's approach to housekeeping. Did any of her suggestions inspire you to approach your house cleaning differently? What areas of home maintenance do you struggle with? And what was your favorite part of today's episode? Let's open a dialogue and connect. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as Allison Labattis, and I would love to hear from you. Remember, you are worthy. Style is a skill anyone can learn, and closet and home contentment is possible. I believe in you. Thanks for tuning in.